Hello to all. Soon is going to be my 16 years in Denmark. So I want to go through what I've been through in these 16 years. I posted this in LinkedIn, but I want to read it to you guys. 16 years in Denmark. I moved to Denmark December of 2007, exactly December 22, I think. I know we got delay. I think originally we planned to leave 20, but we left 21 and then we arrived here 22. The time difference is that's one thing I've also got used to, that the Philippines is a way ahead 7 years than in Denmark. So they're advanced and we are late. But depends on summer or winter time. So 2007 I moved to Denmark, and it feels like I will just read this summary part, then I will discuss some more. Migrating to another country with a new language is not easy. It's like starting from scratch, learning the language and the culture. It's a new environment that I needed to adapt to. When I moved here, I didn't think much of the struggles I have to face. Different adjustments like weather, clothing for 4 seasons, food, people interactions. I didn't take into considerations that moving here means missing all birthdays and other celebrations my family are having way back in the Philippines. I accepted long time ago that this is my new home. I started a family, network, and career here. I don't know what the future will bring, but one thing for sure, my years here molded and bring out the best in me. Thank you, Denmark. That's my post in another social media. I'm not going to mention because you might search for me there. But anyway, so way back in 2007, I moved here and then I enrolled in Danish language. I started already January. And I finished from 2008 to 2011. I finished the Danish language course. And um, when I get into when first meeting I had with the job center, they told me about the how to get the from temporary residency to permanent residency. What are the requirements? And for me, moving here first is the weather. Really, I moved here in the winter time. Imagine from 35 degrees to 10 degrees or minus. My body got really shocked. I got so sick 2 weeks after I moved here. 2 weeks, that period I was so sick because I think my body got like totally shocked. Like, imagine from hot to cold, from very hot to very cold. Yeah. But yeah, that's the first adjustment. And then my first few months I felt homesick because it was winter time. It's always dark outside. I'm not used to dark all the time. And I just realized that in my first 3 months, I realized like, oh, I don't have anyone. I only have my baby and my husband at that time. And that's it. I don't have any friends. I don't have any work. I don't even have the language because people speak Danish. So for me, it's like I felt like, a kid that just, like when a kid just gave birth, it's like a very new environment for you that you have to get used to. So when I attended that meeting, and then she gave me a list of what are the requirements getting permanent in Denmark, I realized the first thing that I really need to learn is the language. I want to be able to communicate to people, understand people, and talk to people because I cannot do that with just my Tagalog and my English language because not all could speak and understand English. So it's only, I mean, mostly the middle ages, young ones are the one who can speak English. But I mean, not all old and not all kids could not. But at that time when I moved here, most of the older ones and the younger ones cannot speak English at the time. At least nowadays, it's a bit more like being open more to speaking English. And I remember before that here in Denmark, when they see you as a foreigner, they will still speak Danish to you. I guess they expect that you are learning Danish. Unlike in the Philippines, when we see a foreigner, we automatically speak English because we already anticipate that this foreigner is a visitor and doesn't speak Tagalog. So we always switch to English. We always try to speak English to a foreigner. But of course, it's not all fluent, but they are all trying. If you try to talk to them in English, they will try their best to respond in English. So after my language school, I took a course here because I think that before I moved here to Denmark, I already had my bachelor in the Philippines and I'm already working professionally. So I was like, when I move here, I also want to be professional. I also want to have a degree here or some sort of education. So I feel like whatever I had in the Philippines, I want to have here in Denmark. So first is the language, and then when I finished the language, I took an IT course, and then after that, I didn't immediately work in IT because of lack of Danish language, or I'm not confident with my Danish language at that time. So I work all sorts of jobs. I worked as a translator, as a cashier, as a caregiver. Yeah, those are my works. What else? I think I also one time worked in it's like a crew in those I tried that one time, like in those yacht or tourist boats, yeah, that go no cruise ship. Yes, like work as a crew in a cruise ship, not inside the cruise ship, just outside, those who's accepting guests. I tried that one time. It's a part-time job. I tried all sorts of job. I also tried to clean, but I wasn't good at it. I think that was my very first extra job. It's like trying to see if I could clean. you know um yes, so there's a lot of job. And then before COVID hit Denmark, I managed to get into an IT job. So still working in IT. I also started an organization because when I am checking this list that I need to accomplish to get a permanent residency, one of the requirement there is be an active member of an organization. And I check different organizations, but as a new in Denmark, I feel like I can't speak Danish. How could I join an organization? And I feel like I cannot relate to any organization at the time, so I created my own. I started a Filipino Danish group. That's where, yeah. And then it's recognized in Copenhagen commune, because I also wanted to use it for when I apply for permanent residency, and I did also. So I had my permanent residency in 2015, and then I got my Danish citizenship in 2018. Actually, right after I got my permanent residency, I took the exam and I passed it, but they asked me to wait. They didn't process it right away. So they said I have to wait for my permanent, or they have to wait for my permanent to turn 1 year. And then after 1 year waiting, and then I have to wait 1 year again for it to be processed. So even if I applied 2015, end of 2015, because I got my permanent May 2015, I took the exam October and then apply already November, December. I already applied after as soon as I got the result of the exam. But then when they received it, they said, okay, we need to wait 1 year after May. Then after 1 year, I have to wait another 1 year. That's why I got my citizenship January 2018. The best gift I got 2018. But yeah, so now working as IT. The future is, I don't know if I'm my kids are going to be in Denmark. I am still going to be in Denmark. Maybe 10, 20, 10, 10 years is my plan, is 7 years maybe to, be here working in IT. And after 7 years, I want to be my own boss. Want to be more of traveling, more of exploring the world. I will probably go back to the Philippines, maybe back and forth, Philippines and Denmark. That's the plan. Yes. What I'm saying is, it's not it's not possible to reach all your goals if you put your head into it, if you really, you know, have a list of your goals. What are your short term goals? What are your long term goals? Every time I made a goal, luckily I always achieve it because I set my focus and my head into it, that this is what I want to be, or this is what I want to have. So I work hard to achieve everything. So I think in 16 years, I would say I'm successful in Denmark because I put my effort and, really tried hard to be where I am today. So I don't know where I'm heading in the future, but and I don't know how long we're going to live. That's that's the that's it. I think after Corona, we just realized that life is. I mean, I also when I work as a caregiver, I've actually learned a lot from it. First, I became fluent in Danish because I only think in Danish, I only speak in Danish. And at the same time, I also learn a lot about life, that no matter how successful you are, no matter how rich you'll be, at the end of your life, you cannot bring all the money in your death. You could not, I don't think it matters if you're successful or not, because you're going to be, at least in Denmark, you're going to have the same treatment. You're all going to end up in either in your home care or a um, home for elderly. In the Philippines, it matters when you have money when you grow old, because or else you cannot afford to be hospitalized. You cannot afford health care if you don't have money to pay for it. So that's that's the that's the 16 years in Denmark. The 16 years of Danish Pinay in Denmark of my. I just imagine, just one of my top views in my channel. I have like this top views. One of them are my basic, very very first three-part video where I'm just like trying to say something in Danish. The reason why I started the YouTube is because I just want to hear myself speak Danish. I just want to see, okay, do I sound right? And I also want to listen to my grammar. Is it correct? And I get some, I think I got some corrections, and I like repeating myself, okay, doesn't sound correct. And I also watch news, watch how they pronounce it, how how do they, sorry, how do they make a sentence, in Danish. That's the reason why I started YouTube channel, just to improve my Danish, just to see how I speak Danish, how do I sound, but the accent will always be there because I already have the two languages, no matter where country we came from. I mean, it's very rare that you will hear a foreigner one who migrated in Denmark as an adult who don't have an accent. As a kid, fine. They would learn it easily, they will learn it faster. But as an adult, we already have so much experience. You already have languages in your head, in your brain. So, and you already have developed your first or second language, and this is my third language, so it's not going to be same sound as the first, I mean, as the regional or as the Danish born, because that's their first language. So it's okay. Don't get insecure. I don't get insecure because I tried my best. I think that's all I could say. I try my best to learn the language. I understand the language. It's not perfect. My accent is still there. But you know what? I don't care. I got my citizenship, and I mean, of course I know I have to improve myself. I know that. But it doesn't make me, it doesn't put me down. It doesn't upsets me if someone say you have an accent that, if someone says, "Oh, you sound good," I feel good. And if someone said you have an accent or your grammar is wrong, I'm fine. I take it as a as a lesson, as a positive feedback. Even though it sounds negative, I take it as, I have to improve myself. Always have to improve myself better than year before, you know. So that's my insecurities about myself within me. So bye guys. Happy anniversary to me, 16 years. Bye.